Question I get a lot, especially from people who are following popular fitness influencers like Jeff Nippard or Jeff Nippard, or however the hell you pronounce his name, is whether or not you should be incorporating deloading or a deload into your training regimen. To me, the question's even extremely ridiculous. And the fact that people even believe that this phenomenon should be utilized shows me that people do not understand the dose response of exercise or the equation of stimulate, recover, and adapt. People are so damn clueless about how this equation works and how the exercise stimulus works is that they've come up with stupid nonsense like deloading. So I'm going to go over a video of Jeff Nippard or Jeff Nippard or however the hell you pronounce it. This is a popular fitness YouTuber. While his physiology and biomechanics pretty on point, of course, like everybody else, there's a lot of stuff that he's completely clueless about. And a lot of people follow this guy for fitness advice because, he looks big, in shape, whatever. Putting aside all genetic factors, of course, people don't realize that being 5'4" and having long muscle bellies makes you look pretty impressive. But anyway, people follow him for advice. He gives a lot of good advice, but some stuff he's absolutely clueless about, including deloading. All right, so let's see what he says about deloading, and I'm going to debunk pretty much every reason he gives to deload. Let's see what he says.
Nutrition. Most people still train during a deload. It's just that the training is modified so that recovery can be leveraged to increase gains over the long term. And I actually don't think enough people leverage recovery effectively. It seems that most bodybuilders are so hung up on the go hard or go home mentality that they forget that the gains actually happen when you go home and rest. And this hardcore mindset often results in these long and grueling plateaus, especially when trainees mistakenly assume that the best way to break through a plateau is to work even harder, when in reality, the antidote is to actually work smarter, not harder. Just think about it. In every other sport on the planet, athletes and coaches realize that you need to have periods of rest and lighter training in order to optimize performance over the long haul. Bodybuilding and strength sports shouldn't be an exception.
So what he's saying is people are getting it wrong by trying to train harder to break through the plateau, rather than taking some lighter training periods where you're not training as intensely, pulling back the amount of load, the amount of whatever he talks about, in order to allow the body to adapt and recover and produce the stimulus. So his recommendation is to not train harder, but pull back on how hard you're training, pull back on the intensity in order to allow the body to recover and adapt. While to somebody who has absolutely no clue about how the stimulus recovery adaptation equation works, on the surface this might make sense. But here is the problem, and the problem is people are so damn clueless of how this all works that they give merit to techniques like this. The problem is people are adopting a program. And by program, I mean, generally, you see people carrying around the stupid little notebooks in the gym. While I should be tracking their progressive overload, what they're really doing is just checking the box when they get through an exercise. People are adopting a program, which is basically a list of exercises and a list of volume, sets and reps. And what people are doing is rather than adjust their frequency and their volume to accommodate intensity of effort, which is literally the driving force in the stimulus for improvements in muscle strength and size, people are pulling back the intensity of effort to accommodate the volume. This is literally backwards. If you were to properly adjust volume and frequency based on your individual ability to adapt and recover to the particular intensity that is required to stimulate the response, then there would be no need for a damn deload. The fact that you feel you need a period of time where you pull back on training intensity, which is literally pointless. It is absolutely pointless to go in the gym and move things around with low intensity. It's a waste of time. That's going to create mechanical damage and other things that's going to make it harder for your body to recover. If you feel the need to pull back on intensity of effort, then you are effing overtraining. It's so simple. People get this wrong because people think there's a certain number of sets and reps that they have to complete every week in every workout. That if they're not completing those sets and reps, that they're going to leave gains on the table. Sets and reps are a means of tracking progress for progressive overload. They are not a requirement of mechanical work necessary to stimulate an adaptive response. As I said before, mechanical work, how many times the weight goes up and down, has nothing to do with metabolic stress and mechanical tension, the two things that we have found that actually drive the stimulus. So people are under the impression they need to do a certain amount of sets, certain number of exercises, certain amount of reps, or they're going to leave gains on the table. So what do? They just mindlessly go day in and day out making this weight move, and it results in overtraining. And then they see that nothing's happening because they're overtraining, so they go, duh, I'm going to have to deload. No. You should be adjusting the volume, time under load, not sets and reps, exercise, whatever. You should be adjusting the volume based on your ability to adapt and recover. Since intensity of effort is the driving force in stimulating your body to adapt, you never, ever want to pull back on intensity of effort. You want to pull back on volume. So deloads are pointless. They're absolutely pointless. The fact that you think you need a deload means you're overtraining. The reason you've hit a plateau is because you're overtraining. There are 3 steps to this process. Stimulate, recover, adapt. Your problem is you are stimulating, maybe allowing step 2 to occur, which is recover, but training again before step 3 ever happens, which is adapt. So people are stimulating, recover, never allowing enough time for the adaptation to take place. Then people have found that this deloading thing works because when they take a week off, they actually allow step 3 to occur, which is adaptation, and they go, oh, well, we need to deload every once in a while because our body is adapting to the workout or whatever. No, you idiot. The thing is, you've been overtraining forever. You take some time off to actually allow your body to produce an adaptation, and voila, you see gains. But you would never, ever, ever need something as dumb as a deload to begin with if you responsibly and logically adjusted your training volume and frequency to your individual ability to adapt and recover. Again, individual ability to adapt and recover. Some people can tolerate working out 3, 4, 5 times a week. Some people can tolerate 100 exercises. Some people need far less or can tolerate far less. So it's up to you to adjust based on your ability to adapt and recover. So, deloading, BS. No need to deload. You need to adjust your volume and frequency on your individual ability to adapt and recover. And something like this would never be necessary. Before we go, guys, make sure to go to jvincentfitness.com and check out my J. Vincent Fitness Male Vitality Supplement. This supplement is for men. Increase free testosterone, increase energy, increase libido and sexual performance, all with clinically proven ingredients. jvincentfitness.com. $5 off if you sign up for the newsletter, and you get my free high-intensity training TRX program. Go ahead and check it out.